All right, episode 3, Champion of Faith breakdown and some strategic tips. So, we're going to now talk about how you reload a Rhino. Now, I know that I've got these guys already on the outside of the line. I'll explain in just a minute. So, we're going to give you two different examples, one going first and one going second. If you are to go first, one of the things that you want to do, especially as a control army, which Champions of Faith are, is you want to get onto that middle point so you start forcing this brick to come out and do something. So they can disembark just like they normally would. Then, as a champion of faith, they can go 7 inches. Here's the thing you want to do the math on ahead of time. They're not going to charge you with the Combi Lieutenant or the Lion statistically on turn 1. If they do, that is the best of the best case scenario. So most likely they're going to send these jump pack units, they're full 12 inches, and they're going to get 5 OC. Maybe 6 if they decide to put the Combi Lieutenant on there. So what that tells me is I need to get 4 of my units on. So here's the cool part. 7 inches gets you here, but these units don't need to do anything this turn, so you can absolutely advance, which means 8 would be the worst possible roll you could get. But realistically, you could easily move a unit 9 inches. So now, if you've done this, you now have created a small little wall and you have a total of 8 OC. So if they charged you with everything, the violence is going to change things up. But if they just decide to try to flip the point, these guys and their Combi Lieutenant do not have enough OC. If they decide to put their Lancer out there, that's going to be 8 total OC. Guess what? You're going to be tied. And they're going to shoot you. And just like we talked about in the previous video, you're going to resurrect more on your turn. So they're going to tie you. But the beautiful part is that you could then flip it back on your turn when you resurrect models. So you're going to just move these guys or gals, something like this, because your goal is that you are simply trying to make sure that you can resurrect onto the point, and you've got easily 5 units here that you could kill off if need be. Now, we talked about this previously, so what's so different? We're going to reload. You see, we have our purplish pink sacrosaints right here. They need to all be within 3 inches, which they can easily do with their movement. So now what's going to happen is this unit is going to get into the Rhino, which, by the way, still has yet to move. So as they get into the Rhino, and we'll put them right here kind of as an example, your Rhino can actually move up a little bit more to make it harder for shooting. So it's a little bit safer. And now this Rhino has a second set of 10 inside it. So if they make what I would consider to be the normal play, and these guys move their 12 inches to here, this big Gladiator Lancer moves, we'll say here. And just like we talked about in the previous video, let's pretend that they go maximum aggression. This Gladiator Lancer is probably going to kill 3 dudes. It is meant for killing tanks, not for killing models that are +1 to wound with a 3 up, 4 up, and a feel no pain, 5 up, feel no pain. Then I don't think that they would grenade and charge on turn 1, most likely because they do mortals on the charge. They're going to charge, which they would easily land. They do 3 mortals, which is going to kill 1 more statistically. If we wanted to round, we could even say 2, just to be safe. Then in their melee scrum, their melee is not built for these guys because it's -1. So you've got to keep in mind, these guys are going to have 3 attacks each, yes, 4 attacks each. I apologize. So they're going to have 20 attacks basically, which means they're going to get about 15 hits, which means then when you really factor it in, they're going to have about 11, we'll call it 10 wounds. You're going to save 5 of them. And then of the 5 that you take, you're going to feel no pain. And probably 2 units are going to die. And that's going to be the end of that exchange. Now, like we've talked about in the previous videos, they've flipped the point for you. All right. But now, because we're adding reloading as a tactic, when we do our reses, we're going to get 2 back statistically in the command phase. So I'm going to put 1 over here, and then I'm going to put another one right here. Well, guess what? I have 6 OC on the point. So now on turn 2, I'm going to get the primary. We also now have enough to probably kill this guy as it is with just these units simply doing their pile-in maneuver. But here's the beautiful part. This Rhino, again, it could stay right where it is, or if you decided you wanted to go into that Gladiator Lancer, keep in mind they're gonna go 10 inches. So the furthest one can make it right here. You're looking at a 5-inch charge. That is extremely doable, especially when you consider we're sisters. You probably have a 4, at least a 4, if not a 5 or a 6 in your pool. So they get out of that car, that furthest girl gets right here, you sub in a 4 on your miracle dice, then it's an unfailable charge, and you're going to get a ton of units in on this. And the reason that you might want to go in on it is because of the fact that these girls have lethal hits. So even if you can get half of them on there, you're going to do some pretty decent damage to this thing because its base save is a 3, means it's pushing it to a 4. If you can somehow get a good charge and you get 30 attacks with lethal, I would pop the CP to give them sustain. There's a very good chance they kill this vehicle. If they don't kill it, they're going to hurt it really, really bad. Again, you give the lion the choice. Does he want to do that heroic and enter the battlefield because he's here? Because, by the way, keep in mind, if we're playing Champions of Faith, we've got Morganval and some other units, and most likely, most cases, I think I've got her right down here. When we're talking about reloading, we're going to get into this in our next video, but you want to have additional pressure tactics. So if you've got this beautifully reloaded vehicle here, when these girls make their charge, an average roll is going to probably get you something. It's going to look like this, and then you probably won't be able to get them all on. So what you're going to end up doing is you're going to daisy chain a few back so that you can get maximum OC onto this point, but you still, in this example, are going to get a good amount. You're going to get like 7 of these girls into this tank. They're going to hurt it pretty well. And if the lion does decide to come out, 6-inch charge, absolutely, it's a 50-50 charge. What he has to factor in is Morganval is right here. So if he does decide to do this, there's a very good chance he will kill most of them. But the important thing is when he does kill, you're going to kill away from him because you want him to be out of combat on the next turn. So then when Morgan comes out, because she'll be a champion of faith, to here, guess what? You're going to have all of your stuff is going to be within 12 inches. In this example, I'm exactly 12, but you could move to where you can get it, 11.9. It would not be hard to do at all. And then you're going to be able to shoot the lion, and this other unit that's now been killed is gone, and the lion will statistically probably kill a decent amount of these, but guess what? With his fight first. But then the other girls are going to pile into him, and I would charge with these because fight first units, you want to get multiple things in. So a mix of Morgan being able to shoot her guns at him, then one of these girls throwing it, the black girl's probably throwing a grenade and then charging, you will statistically kill the lion. And if in a turn you have now got this Gladiator Lancer critically low, in addition to the fact that you've killed their scoring unit and the lion, this game is won for you. Game is over. So reloading can give you the ability to launch that second unit out, and they don't know where you're going to go. Are you going to go here? Are you going to go here? What does it look like? So it's a really good tactic. It also keeps a durable unit even more protected as you're pushing up the board and creating additional pressure. So drop a like for the Emperor and subscribe. And remember, in the grim darkness of the far, far future, there is always more to break.